Hello everybody, this is Leanora and thank you for stopping back in today. I am going to be doing an actual oracle card interpretation, energy-wise, collective messages, and it feels like something that is going to help just a lot of people put a couple of things in orders and maybe just answer some questions for some points of what we could do to shift things going on in all of our spaces. So if you would like to follow or like below here on this channel, you can follow me personally on Twitter at ElementsCrazyLee, or you can follow my business, Elemental Inspirations, on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So today I pulled some cards from the Ciro Marchetti's or Marchetti's Oracle of Visions through the US Game Imprints. And I pulled some really interesting cards, and kind of what I did is made individual impressions from each card. I used 3 of them today, and then turned around and kind of made a collective kind of understanding. So with the first card, we kind of pulled this today, and it gave me a lot of ideas of we're all trying to add a space of direction and moving forward and feeling balanced, and that we're not just being self-associated or self-aware, that we're taking in many thoughts and feelings and opinions. But sometimes we become blindsided. Sometimes we become so aware of our own path and our own space and our own choices and our own feelings and energies that sometimes we're really blindsided to how much we are not taking in outside feelings, thoughts, emotions, opinions. How our faith is blindsided us towards actions or things that we need to do to move forward. That we're waiting for too many other things outside of ourselves to actually happen. So I definitely got a really great feeling that all of us are needing to evolve right now, to evolve outside of ourselves, to evolve outside of our perceptions, our understandings. And in order for us to grow, to ascertain a word that is kind of a very frustrating and hard to necessarily define word, but happiness. If we're all going to grow into our ideas of happiness, that there's definitely some kind of evolution in mental, spiritual, and physical direction and attributes that we all need to kind of grow in. This is kind of an interesting card that kind of came up next. And this deck is very beautiful. It's great card stock, great card size. I don't know how many of you out there have used it. But I got a couple of interesting vibrations when I pulled this card, in the conjunction with the 3 cards I pulled. It just feels energetically just feeling connected and feeling each one of us, whether we have it or we're working towards it, looking for things that make us feel connected and loved and surrounded with beauty and abundance and joy. And not realizing that sometimes that we go after things that are more treacherous and more harmful and make us each feel more vulnerable than we really want to feel in that space. And sometimes we look around and see the space where we thought that we were at home, that we thought that this was the place that we wanted to be, that was going to be a good place for us. And find that the environment is toxic, that the people are not supportive, the community you thought was a community was a community of, not you really being a part of what you wanted. So I really feel a lot of that is part of the evolution that's needing to kind of go on, is making sure that you're filling your space and your attachments and your connections with things that are more pure and true, and not so much relying on a certain environment or certain monies or certain friendships or interactions to be part of that space. A lot of our stuff is inside of ourself. And if we're looking to find outside attachments and outside things, those things could bring in more analyzing and having to take in more opinions or thoughts or things outside of the thing that originally created, again, that word, happiness. So we all need love, we all need direction, we all need that some kind of connection, whether it's to nature, which is of course is one of the best ones to have, as well as to our family, our goals, our hobbies, our attributes. And sometimes people have to look at the simplest things as like caring about their diet and caring about maybe their finances versus like caring about your meditation and your diet and your magic ritual practice and your family and other things and whatnot that could go to a different level. And you need to make sure that you're not vulnerable in those spaces and you actually appreciate and understand it for what it is, so that like if something changes, you don't start to feel vulnerable. You have that classic, empty nest syndrome that, could be a very mundane thing into more magical attributes. So this is kind of the last card. I don't want to stay on here too long, but I definitely wanted to cover all of the frequencies I kind of picked up on today. I just got such a crazy abundant energy when I seen that card, and again in kind of the layout of the spread of everything, that open our hearts and open ourselves up to the connections that we really want to make, and don't find faults in it. Don't find faults in like going out into nature per se. Don't find it dirty. Don't find it too difficult. Don't find it to be like too taxing. Nature is a connection that once you have that connection and you feel connected, you breathe the air, you're out there hiking, it's like it feels so vulnerable, but at the same time you feel so enlightened and so attached, and there's so many things. That's a connection. No matter where you go, you have it. No matter what's going on in your life, you have it. Whether you're psychically like kind of feeling blocked and you're not like tapping into the messages that are coming around, going out into nature will definitely bring about more of that stuff. You're like knowing your angels or knowing your tools or bringing in certain frequencies and vibrations and whatnot, and you're feeling unsure of like what that connection is. Nature energies, animals, crystals, woods, the elements are places that you can go to kind of tap into that. We are all standing on the precipice, like looking for direction and change, but what are all of us willing to sacrifice for those changes? Are you willing to like pick up and move across the country? Are you willing to change jobs? Are you willing to quit looking at your magical practice as like being a little scary and a little like unsure if that's what you really want to do, and kind of take that leap forward and just start working with it? Do you trust yourself enough to like feel that you and your life is like a decent, good path, at least as far as you try to do, so you let go of that fear and that worry, which could be big blocks that is a sacrifice for you so that you can move forward more easily in your life and your practice. So ask ourselves this: what could I do in my space that could make me feel more vulnerable in my evolution? Is there someone in my life I could like give more power? Is there some part of my practice I'm not doing as much, like I'm not meditating as much because I feel too busy, so I need to kind of move that around and find like a different time where we can do that? All of us like want love and want connections, but what are we willing to do for it? Does love have to be on our terms? Do you love like a red heart? Do you love like a butterfly? Do you love like a crystal? Do you love like the sun or the moon? Everybody's vibration of like love and happiness is in such a different place when we're trying to figure out if we align with people or events or, our families, loved ones, and our magic. It's not even necessarily so much whether someone loves you or has, wants the same things that you do, but happiness and love are so different for everybody that sometimes we need to kind of ask ourselves, like, does this person, does this event, does this thing like resonate in the same vibration? And if not, that's okay. It's okay to have opposites attract or have like different energies like in your space, but you have to realize what you're dealing with so that as you engage in that activity, as you start to practice that form of magic, as you start to like invest your money in stocks or engage in a different type of relationship setting, that you realize what you're doing and kind of putting yourself out there so that if things like change, you don't feel like the world's attacking you or people aren't respecting you and things of that nature. Loving ourselves is such a big thing, and understanding like where our programming is inside of our body is such a big thing that sometimes again our evolution like stops because we feel like we've grown as far as we can grow, or we already take in all these different opinions and thoughts and energies. We are all standing there looking and waiting for like beauty and abundance and great things to come, but each of us need to realize that every day, just the sacrifice of stepping outside your bubble and hugging your spouse when you come home and saying, hey, I love you, I've had a hard day, like we should talk, but not tonight. to kind of change jobs when you're holding on to the security and the things that you have in this job, because it just feels like what you need to be doing, but then you transition and it changes things, but it's a sacrifice. And it could mean that you make more money or just have less stress or be closer to your family. We all need to realize that all the evolution that we want out there is there with sacrifice, that it's there when we take off the blindfold and start looking at our space and the people. We don't need to overanalyze things. We don't need to take things to shred every single day. But if we don't, sometimes we start to realize that relationships have evolved away from us, even with friends, and they're not realizing that they're pushing you away, and you feel you need to expand out and maybe find other friends, and then it makes them feel you don't have time for them. Love is so weird. Relationships are so weird. You do have to have an understanding of things, but once you get to that point that you're ready to actually approach things, don't feel you actually need to keep going forward and get too heavy too deep. As always, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope some of these messages help with some of the collective things going on out there for all of us. Blessed be, and until next time.